On parole, Boxer moved in with his father, who was now divorced and had a house in La Puente, and another relative helped him get a job working construction for $8 an hour. John Enriquez still quietly hoped that his son would choose to live a normal life, respectable life, but it wasn't going to happen. Boxer asked his father if he could have a few friends over for a barbecue. John Enriquez asked if they were good guys. Yeah, he answered, "They're good guys, Dad." In his world they were. We have our own standards and expectations that govern our own behavior. Brutality is lauded. A brother is considered a good man because he has committed acts of violence for the Mexican mafia. He's not a snitch or a coward. He's a stand-up guy. What the regular word condemns, we praise. Your best friends come along and brothers vote him out. Even though you like the guy, you got to whack him. It was a bizarro world where right was wrong and wrong was right. A world where cold-hearted killers capable of the most vicious crimes were considered not only normal, but good guys. HUERO SHY, Shryock, Rocky Luna, Big Hazard, and Jesse Pelon Moreno of Norwalk, all recently paroled, good guys, came to Boxer's barbecue. In the late 1970s, the prominent mafia killer Mundo Mendoza had become a government informant, witness, and helped lock up 36 influential brothers for long prison terms, including Joe Morgan, Alfie Sosa, and HUERO SHY. It definitely crippled inmate influence outside prison walls. Mendoza says, "We were in the initial steps of organizing outside when all the arrests were made." Rocky Luna walked into the barbecue with the front of his shirt open, exposing a large tattoo that spelled out Mexican Mafia across his upper chest, just below his neckline. Luna was a ugly brute of a man with a pockmarked face, helmet head haircut, wide nose, big bushy mustache that turned down at the edges, and false teeth. Oddly, he always broke out one tooth from his dentures to make them look as if they were real teeth. Rocky was a proven killer who was disarmingly charming. The character would be a funny story every time. Then HUERO SHY showed up with the letter M unmistakably tattooed on both of his arms. He was a grouchy guy, often referred to as a disagreeable shy, with one blue eye and one green eye and a big, deep, booming, throaty voice. He spoke English with a slight Mexican accent, even though he was an Anglo whose mother came from Kansas. Shy had a little too much to drink and warmed up to Boxer's father, calling him carnal this and carnal that. John Enriquez asked his son, "Are these guys from the mafia?" "Don't worry about it, Dad." Boxer was wearing a slingshot, an armless t-shirt that exposed his shoulders and much of his upper body. His father, who was already hated prison tattoos because he felt they limited job opportunities, now saw the black hand tattooed on his son's chest. "It's the Mexican Mafia," Boxer said. "Don't worry, it's nothing." "You're a member of the Mexican Mafia?" "Yeah," repeated the son. "Don't worry, it's nothing." Stunned and bewildered by his son's admission that he was a mafioso, John Enriquez didn't ask any more questions. He just couldn't do it. The words wouldn't come. Not what he wanted for Rene, but there it was. Mafiosi talk business over potato chips, barbecue chicken, potato salad, hot dogs, burgers, and beer. The other guest was 49-year-old Jesse Pelon Moreno, an easygoing moneymaker who had missing teeth, wore thick glasses, and knew a lot of people. Although he liked to stay in the background most of the time, Pelon was a go-to guy who served as La Me's de facto commissioner out on the streets. HUERO SHY and Rocky had introduced him to Boxer, and Pelon had agreed to put Boxer in touch with a mafia heroin supplier so that he could run his own drug sales operation on the street. So they got organized, started doing hits, jacking people, even pimping. But heroin was their main supplier, main money-making source. And there's Benjamin Topo Peters. Topo Peters, according to prison records, was one of the most top members of the Mexican Mafia. A very hostile, aggressive, predator-type individual with a very short temper. Involved in numerous violent assault acts in various institutions which were committed with prison-made weapons. Jose Sluggo Pineda was a bitter, cantankerous old-school mafioso who spoke mostly Spanish, and if someone didn't understand him, he would get pissed off. His craggy face with puffed-up eyes, his bald head, and his crooked ears gave him a look of perpetual misery. And if he were sucking on sour lemons all day long every day, in fact, he usually stayed high on heroin, whiskey, or anything else he could get his hands on. Topo Peters didn't like Sluggo. Sluggo had nothing when he got out of prison about a year earlier. He had no family, no money, no place to live, nothing. It was customary for mobster police who had nowhere to go to stay with Paz Gutierrez. Topo's 60-year-old mother, she would make them do yard work, odd jobs around the house in return. Topo was only 5 feet 4 inches tall, and he stood nearly a head taller than his madre, who was a fireplug of a woman with a short temper, perm-dyed strawberry blonde hair, huge owl-eyed glasses, and a little crooked smile. She was totally devoted to Topo, her only child, and he was totally devoted to her. According to probation records, Topo's mother and grandmother were overprotective, and his father was a physically abusive alcoholic who abandoned the family when Topo was 7 years old. FBI agents say Paz was also devoted to the Mexican Mafia. The organization used her and her clean mailing address to deliver and reroute messages and set up three-way telephone calls regarding gang disputes, drugs, and other illegal inmate business. They say her house was used for occasional mob meetings. Naturally, it was a good spot for Sluggo to set up for a while after getting out of the pinta. It didn't go well. It's never been clear why, but Paz quickly grew angry with Sluggo. She sent word to her mafioso son Topo that Sluggo had tried to rape her. Boxer remembers clearly what happened next. Benny, Topo, flew off the handle. "This motherfucker tried to rape my mom after I put him in the house? I'll kill that son of a bitch." Topo started sending out huilas that ordered Sluggo's death. Not wanting to get on Topo's bad side, others agreed without question that the job had to be done. Then the Carnales dropped by Paz's house to follow up. Her story grew a little softer. She claimed Sluggo had simply come onto her, and later she changed her story again, saying Sluggo had raised his hand back to hit her. There were 3 different versions of the story. Boxer, for one, thought it was lame. It all sounded stupid. Meanwhile, Sluggo had no idea what was going on. He moved out and was sleeping in abandoned cars in Hazard, doing crack, living like a bum, wondering why the younger gangsters in the neighborhood were beating him up and shooting at him. The guy probably didn't know there was a green light on him until HUERO SHY came to click off his life. Boxer Enriquez said that Topo's mom was an evil little woman. She was the worst liar in the organization. Arguably, she caused more murders than all of us. So many people got killed for stupid stuff like this. It's repetitive theme in the mob. Guys get whacked for nothing. It's cannibalistic organization that we will eat its own. That's what it does.